Alara stepped carefully over the jagged rocks, her boots crunching against the strange, dark soil of Arden Prime, a planet on the edge of explored space. The wind carried a faint electric charge, making her skin tingle. She had visited this planet before, mapping its terrain and collecting samples, but something today drew her toward the horizon in a way she could not explain. Far ahead, half buried among massive rock formations, she saw it. A ship. Not just any ship, but a colossal, sleek vessel unlike anything in the known galaxy. Its metallic surface shimmered under the dim light of Arden Prime's twin suns. It was ancient, yet it seemed to hold a life of its own. Alara's heart raced. "This can't be a natural formation," she muttered. Her voice sounded small against the vast emptiness around her. She crouched near a jagged rock and studied the ship from a distance. Its lines were smooth, almost organic, curving in a way that suggested intention, design, and intelligence. She had been warned by her fellow researchers. "Stay away from alien relics," they had said. "You don't know what you'll awaken." But Alara had never been one to listen to warnings. There was something magnetic about the ship, as if it were calling to her. Over the next few days, she returned again and again. Each time, she noticed small changes. Shadows shifted in ways that didn't match the sun. Occasionally, a faint hum vibrated through the ground beneath her feet. She tried to record it, but the instruments picked up nothing. It was a sound meant for her, or perhaps for someone with her mind. Inside the ship, she found corridors filled with strange symbols carved into the walls. They glowed faintly when she passed, lighting her way as if the ship knew she was there. Her first attempt to enter ended when a metal door slid shut, trapping her briefly before releasing her without explanation. That only made her more curious. One evening, as Arden Prime's suns dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of red and purple, she found herself standing before the bridge of the ship. The main console was unlike anything she had seen. It was smooth, seamless, and entirely free of buttons or levers. Instead, glowing lines pulsed beneath the surface, shifting in patterns that made her head spin. Alara ran her fingers over the console. The ship responded immediately. A low hum filled the air and lights danced across the walls, illuminating star maps that stretched across the entire bridge. Some maps were familiar, showing galaxies she knew, while others were completely alien. She realized the ship was alive in a way she could feel but not yet understand. She sat down in the main chair, drawn by a strange compulsion. The moment her body touched the surface, the hum became a vibrating resonance in her mind. At first it was only noise, but slowly it shifted into shapes and colors, forming patterns that seemed to communicate something. She blinked rapidly, trying to focus, but it was overwhelming. Days passed, and her visits became more frequent and longer. She began to dream about the ship at night. In her dreams, she walked its corridors, but now they were filled with living beings made of light, their faces kind but unreadable. They spoke, but she did not understand the words. Still, she felt a deep connection, a sense that they were waiting for her to speak. Her fellow researchers began to notice her absence from the base camp. "Alara, you've been gone for hours again," one of them said. "The ship is not safe. There's radiation, energy surges, you could be killed." But she only shook her head. "It's not about danger," she said quietly. "It's calling me." One afternoon, as a storm of electrical winds swept across the planet, Alara returned to the ship. The storm made the surface of the vessel spark with electricity, but instead of fear, she felt exhilaration. Something was happening, something important. Inside the bridge, she noticed a glowing symbol on the floor in front of the chair. It pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. Almost instinctively, she knelt and pressed her hands on it. A jolt ran through her, not painful but awakened something deep within her mind. The hum grew louder, forming patterns she could almost understand. Suddenly, the room shifted. The walls seemed to breathe, expanding and contracting with a rhythm that matched her own. Star maps rotated and aligned in ways that made her dizzy, yet she could sense a purpose behind it all. The ship was not random. It had a mission, and it had chosen her. Her fingers brushed over a section of the console, and the hum became a whispering voice in her head. She couldn't understand the words, but she understood the feeling: urgency, hope, and something like trust. The ship was alive, and it was waiting for her to awaken fully. Alara stumbled back, breathless. "Am I hearing it, or imagining it?" she whispered. Her voice sounded strange even to her. There was no fear in her mind, only a pull toward the unknown. The sensation was intoxicating, and despite the warnings, she knew she had to return. Every day that week, she went back. Each visit, the ship reacted more strongly. The lights pulsed in complex sequences, star maps shifted faster, and the hum evolved into patterns that almost felt like words. Her dreams mirrored the ship's activity, making her sleep restless yet filled with strange clarity. Then came the day she could not resist. She entered the bridge, heart pounding. The chair called to her, more insistently than ever. She sat down. Immediately, the ship roared to life, lights blazing, corridors vibrating, and the hum exploding into a thunderous resonance in her mind. For a moment, she felt as if she would be torn apart. But then, through the chaos, she sensed a calm presence. The ship was alive, not in a simple machine sense, but in a conscious way, and it was speaking to her directly, waiting for her response. She closed her eyes, letting the vibrations fill her mind. Shapes, colors, and feelings flooded her consciousness. Suddenly, a clear understanding emerged. The ship was not dangerous. It was searching for someone capable of thought, creativity, and empathy, someone human. Alara gasped. She realized the truth. Humans were not only explorers, they were unique in ways no machine or alien technology could replicate. And this ship, ancient and mysterious, had been waiting millions of years for a human like her. The bridge was silent again, except for the faint hum that now felt like a heartbeat synchronized with hers. She opened her eyes and whispered to the empty room, I hear you." At that moment the ship reacted. Symbols on the floor glowed brighter. Lights traced patterns in the air. Star maps aligned into formations she had never seen before. The hum softened into a gentle, encouraging rhythm, as if the ship was acknowledging her presence and welcoming her into something greater. Outside, the storm of Arden Prime subsided, leaving the sky dark and clear. Two suns set behind jagged mountains, casting long shadows over the alien vessel. Alara sat in the chair, mesmerized. She understood one thing clearly. She had awakened something far older and far more powerful than anything she had imagined. And yet she could not speak the words the ship wanted to hear, not yet. But she felt the pull, deep and insistent. One day soon she would. And when she did, everything would change. For now she remained, a human alone in the bridge of an ancient living starship, staring into the future that awaited her, one filled with mystery, adventure, and the promise of humanity's greatness. Alara sat in the glowing chair, heart pounding, as the hum of the ancient ship vibrated through her entire body. The bridge was alive with light and motion, symbols shifting in patterns she had never seen. The star maps rotated slowly, then rapidly, pointing to places across the galaxy she had never visited. She took a deep breath and tried to focus. The ship seemed to respond to her concentration, pulsing softly as if it could feel her thoughts. For hours, she simply sat there, allowing the vibrations to flow through her, trying to understand the meaning behind them. Then it happened. A voice not spoken but in her mind spoke clearly for the first time. "Who awakens the guardian?" Alara froze. Her mind raced. The voice was not alien in tone. It was calm, precise, and aware, as if it had been waiting for her for centuries. She realized that the ship was trying to communicate telepathically, reaching out to a mind capable of understanding beyond words. I am Alara," she whispered aloud, almost unconsciously. The sound of her voice startled her, because it seemed to resonate through the ship itself. The lights flickered, and the symbols on the walls aligned into what she could only describe as letters and shapes forming patterns she somehow recognized. The ship pulsed again, stronger this time. Images filled her mind. A civilization long gone, species of immense intelligence that had built this ship to protect life from dangers the galaxy could not face alone. Their language was complex, woven from thought patterns rather than sounds, but she could feel the meaning, the intention, and the urgency. Alara realized something profound. The ship was not meant for any being. It was designed for someone capable of understanding, of creativity, of intuition, and that someone was human. The ancient species had recognized humanity's unique ability to think abstractly, to imagine, to solve problems no machine could. Her pulse quickened. She leaned forward, trying to connect more fully. The hum intensified, vibrating through her bones. Then came a new feeling connection. It was as if her thoughts could reach out and touch the ship's mind. She willed herself to focus on the simplest thought: I am here. I want to understand. The response was instantaneous. The lights brightened, and the symbols rearranged themselves into star maps highlighting potential threats and points of interest. Alara realized the ship was showing her its purpose. It had been a guardian, waiting for a species capable of choosing wisely and acting bravely. Her mind raced with possibilities. Could humans really carry out the mission this ship had been built for? Could one human alone unlock the full potential of an ancient vessel? But as she sat in the chair, feeling the ship's pulse, she knew the answer. Humans could. She just had to prove it. Days passed in a blur. Alara spent hours in the bridge, learning the rhythm of the ship's communication. Sometimes it showed her visions of distant galaxies, sometimes simulations of cosmic disasters it had once prevented. And always, it responded to her thoughts in ways no one else could replicate. She attempted to speak aloud in the alien language she was beginning to understand. At first, the sounds were clumsy, strange, and unfamiliar, but each attempt made the ship react more strongly, confirming that her human mind could bridge the gap between species and machine. Outside, her fellow researchers grew uneasy. They watched from a distance, unable to penetrate the ship's defenses. Attempts to approach were met with sudden energy surges, harmless but frightening. The ship would not allow anyone but Alara to control it. It had chosen her specifically. Alara began experimenting with the ship's systems. By visualizing movements and intentions, she could move parts of the ship, adjust the star maps, and access information stored for eons. She marveled at the intricacy of the technology. It was nothing like human engineering, yet she could sense patterns, almost as if the ship anticipated her thoughts and allowed her to complete them. One night, while the twin suns of Arden Prime set and the sky darkened, Alara finally felt ready. She took a deep breath and tried to form a complete sentence in the alien language. The first words came haltingly, almost painfully. I will listen. I will protect. The ship pulsed in response, lights exploding across the bridge like fireworks. Star maps shifted, showing new paths and new locations. She realized her words had activated the ship fully, unlocking functions it had been dormant for centuries. The hum became a melody, almost like music made of light and thought. Over the next few days, Alara tested her connection with the ship. She discovered that her human intuition could solve puzzles the ship presented. Complex star charts, cosmic simulations, and alien mathematics were no longer obstacles. They were challenges her mind could meet with creativity and reasoning. One afternoon, a startling image appeared on the main display, a massive cosmic entity moving through space, consuming everything in its path. It was slow but unstoppable, a threat that could wipe out entire star systems. Alara felt a chill. The ship had been built to prevent disasters like this, but it had waited millions of years for a species capable of strategizing against it. Her mind raced. How could humans stop something so vast? She closed her eyes, letting the ship's knowledge flow into her thoughts. Then a plan emerged, not just a logical plan, but a creative one, combining strategy, intuition, and empathy. She realized that the combination of her human mind and the ship's ancient intelligence could achieve what neither could alone. Alara communicated her strategy to the ship. Lights flashed, symbols rearranged, and simulations ran in real time. The ship adapted to her instructions, following her guidance. For the first time, she felt the true power of human potential. It was not raw strength, but intelligence, imagination, and courage. Meanwhile, back at the research camp, her colleagues watched in awe. They had dismissed Alara's obsession with the ship as dangerous curiosity. Now they saw her interacting with something beyond their understanding, controlling a technology older than any civilization they knew. Slowly, they realized humans were unique, capable of achieving what others could not. As she continued to work with the ship, Alara noticed changes in herself. She slept less, yet her mind felt sharper. Dreams became clearer, often filled with visions of distant galaxies and long-lost civilizations. She realized the ship was not just giving her information, it was teaching her, preparing her for a role she had never imagined. Then came the moment that would change everything. While navigating a simulation of the cosmic entity, Alara's body stiffened. She could feel the ship's pulse in her very bones. Symbols and light patterns filled her vision, and suddenly, without conscious thought, she spoke aloud in the alien language. "We will act, we will protect, we will endure." The bridge erupted in response. Lights and energy flows shifted, activating systems that had been dormant for millennia. Star maps aligned with perfect precision, showing paths to safeguard countless worlds. Alara realized that her human voice, combined with her understanding and intent, had fully awakened the ship. For the first time, she understood the purpose of the guardianship. The ship had been waiting for humans, not just as explorers but as protectors. Her species' ability to think creatively, to adapt, to empathize, and to take risks was exactly what the ancient builders had predicted. Alara's colleagues approached cautiously, still in awe. How are you doing this?" one asked. She smiled, looking at the glowing symbols, the star maps, and the vast corridors of the ship. "We humans, we are capable of more than we know," she said softly. "This ship chose me because it recognized that, and now we can protect the galaxy together." As the twin suns of Arden Prime rose the next morning, casting light across the colossal vessel, Alara sat in the chair, fully aware of her new role. She was no longer just an explorer. She was a guardian, a communicator, a human capable of awakening the knowledge of civilizations long gone. And the ancient ship, once silent and dormant, now pulsed with life, ready to follow the guidance of a human mind, a human heart, and a human spirit. Alara leaned back, breathing deeply, feeling the hum of the ship synchronize with her heartbeat. She realized the journey was only beginning. One day she would lead humanity into the stars, not just as explorers, but as protectors and innovators, proving that humans were capable of greatness the galaxy had never seen. For now, though, she simply sat, listening, learning, and growing into the role she had been chosen for. The ship had awakened, and with it, a new chapter for humanity was about to begin. Alara stood on the bridge of the awakened ship, feeling its pulse beneath her. The vibrations were no longer confusing. They were familiar, steady, alive. She had spent weeks learning its rhythms, understanding its language of light and thought. But now a real challenge appeared on the star maps. A massive cosmic entity, a devourer of worlds, was moving steadily toward the nearby star systems. Its size alone made her chest tighten. The simulations showed that it could obliterate planets faster than any fleet could respond. Her mind raced. The ship offered possibilities, star charts, and ancient strategies, but none were complete. It had been designed to assist a species capable of thinking beyond logic, using creativity and intuition. That species was human, and Alara knew she had to act. "We have to protect them," she whispered to herself. Her voice seemed to echo through the ship, carrying confidence and determination. "We can do this. We must." She studied the simulations carefully. The cosmic entity moved slowly, but its mass and energy would allow it to destroy entire planets without warning. The ship offered options: diversion, containment, or destruction. None were perfect. Each required risk, innovation, and human judgment. Alara closed her eyes and focused. A plan formed in her mind, a combination of strategy, improvisation, and risk-taking, something no machine or automated system could devise alone. It relied on her ability to imagine possibilities others could not. She spoke aloud, forming the alien words she had been practicing. "We will not wait, we will act." The ship responded immediately. Symbols and lights danced across the bridge, creating a holographic map of the galaxy, highlighting the entity's path and the planets at risk. Alara guided the ship into motion. It rose above Arden Prime, its massive hull gleaming under the twin suns. The ship's engines thrummed as it accelerated beyond anything human technology had achieved, traveling toward the cosmic threat at speeds that bent space itself. During the journey, Alara remained calm, focusing on the patterns of the entity. She noticed weak points in its movement, subtle fluctuations in energy the ship had recorded but not yet interpreted. Using human intuition, she identified a point where the entity could be diverted without harm to nearby star systems. She instructed the ship to project a series of energy fields in precise formations. The fields were designed to guide the entity's path, nudging it away from populated planets. But the calculations required adjustment in real time, responding to the unpredictable movement of a living, cosmic force. Alara's creativity shone. She combined visual reasoning, intuition, and a human sense of timing to adjust the fields, predicting how the entity would react. Each pulse of the ship's energy was calculated yet instinctive, reflecting the best of human thought in concert with ancient technology. Hours passed and the entity shifted slightly, responding to the energy fields. The ship pulsed, waiting for her next command. Alara realized that she was no longer simply following the ship's guidance. The ship was following hers. The ancient guardians had relied on humans because their ingenuity could solve problems no pre-programmed system could. Finally, the entity's path altered just enough. It moved away from the star systems, heading toward an uninhabited region of space, harmlessly consuming energy from dying stars. Alara exhaled, relief washing over her. She had done it. Humans had succeeded where countless others would have failed. The ship's lights dimmed slightly, as if acknowledging the victory. Symbols on the walls glowed in patterns of celebration, forming shapes Alara instinctively recognized as gratitude. She realized that the ship had become a partner, not just a tool, and that human creativity had unlocked its full potential. Back at the research camp, her colleagues watched the events unfold from a distance. They could see the ship's massive silhouette against the planet's sky and the energy pulses guiding the cosmic entity. Slowly, they began to understand what had happened. Humans were not just explorers or survivors. They were capable of leadership, creativity, and courage on a galactic scale. Alara turned to the bridge, her fingers brushing over the console. Star maps rearranged themselves, highlighting civilizations across the galaxy, many of which could now be protected with the ship's guidance. The cosmic entity was no longer a threat. For the first time, she felt the weight of responsibility. Humanity's role was no longer small or local. It was vast and essential. She realized the full truth. The ancient species that built the ship had been searching for a species capable of guardianship. Humanity's unique traits, creativity, adaptability, empathy, and intuition, were exactly what the ship needed to fulfill its mission. Her thoughts wandered to the future. With the ship fully awakened and responsive to human thought, there were endless possibilities. She could explore distant galaxies, prevent disasters, and uncover the mysteries of civilizations long gone. Humans had become partners in the universe, capable of shaping events with intelligence and courage. Alara looked out of the massive viewport at the stars. They stretched endlessly before her, full of potential and unknown dangers. But she no longer felt fear. The ship's pulse, now synchronized with hers, was a reminder that human ingenuity could rise to any challenge. Her colleagues approached the ship carefully, hesitant but respectful. "How did you do it?" one asked. Alara smiled. "We listened, we understood, and we acted." Humans are not just capable of surviving in this galaxy, they are capable of protecting it, guiding it, and shaping its future. The ship pulsed again, lights forming symbols that Alara now read as approval and guidance. She realized that this was just the beginning. The galaxy held countless mysteries, and humanity had earned its place among the stars, not by force, but by thought and courage. Over the following weeks, Alara trained her colleagues in basic ship interaction. She taught them how human intuition could guide the ship, but always emphasized that it was not strength alone that mattered. It was creativity, imagination, and empathy that made humans unique and capable of unlocking the ship's true potential. Together, they explored ancient star systems, encountering remnants of civilizations that had risen and fallen millions of years ago. Each discovery reinforced the message. Humanity had the ability to understand, adapt, and continue the work of those who came before. One day, as they charted a previously unknown galaxy, Alara realized something profound. Humans were no longer passive observers in the universe. They had become active participants, responsible for the safety and knowledge of countless worlds. The cosmic entity, once a looming threat, had been redirected, and the ship now carried the wisdom of an ancient species and the ingenuity of humans, a combination that could protect the galaxy for generations to come. Alara looked out again at the stars, feeling a deep sense of pride and humility. Humanity had been chosen, not by chance but by its unique abilities. And she, a single human among billions, had been the key to awakening the ship. The ship hummed softly, a melody of light and thought, and Alara knew that this was only the beginning. Together, humans and the ancient vessel would explore, protect, and guide the galaxy, proving that even a single species with courage and creativity could rise to greatness. As the stars stretched endlessly before them, Alara whispered, "We are ready." And for the first time, the galaxy seemed full of hope and infinite possibilities, all because a human had dared to awaken an ancient ship and speak.